Shobu Shanda, Bangladesh. Good afternoon. How are you doing? I have one more at the end, so I learned two things in your language already, but I don't want to overperform you right now. So first of all, it's a pleasure. It's my first visit to Bangladesh. I can only say, after 24 hours, very good experience here. People are very, very friendly, so I like it. And also thanks to the organizers for giving me the opportunity to talk about a topic that is getting more and more important. My team, or the Eskimi team, actually is sitting there in the corner. So should there be any questions for your business for later, we're here. And also my colleague Josh is going to participate in the panel discussion. Okay, so brand safety, data security, and third-party verification. They go hand in hand, but I tried actually to segment them a little bit and try to explain you the differences here. But maybe quick introduction to Eskimi. So what I heard actually is that Eskimi is very popular already in Bangladesh, but I would like to give you a couple of back informations about that one. So we are a global ad tech company. We are in all regions of the world currently with offices. And what we actually do, what our product is an ad stack for programmatic advertising, mainly display advertising, native and video. So to make it a little bit more easy, it's a campaign tool where you set up your programmatic campaign, your audiences, your creatives, and run it by yourself or via us, via managed services. One thing also, it's not only a tool where you set something up, but it's a combination also of the tool of a database called DMP and an SSP solution. So I will explain you later a little bit more about that. We are growing very fast, and I was very surprised about this number that we ran 137,000 global ad campaigns, which is quite a lot. And the good news also is that we won the G2 award for Best DSP in the last quarter. So this is what every company does. They put their best clients, so I try to minimize it and just show a couple of them. So obviously, the tool is to be used by agencies mainly, but also by direct brands, and you can see a couple of here. We do actually have some kind of preferred verticals. Obviously, display is a channel that works very well for brand awareness and consideration. So that means FMCG companies, food and beverage, et cetera, are very qualified in consumer electronics to use that tool. But altogether, we have 2,000 clients, and they don't fit in one slide. So what is it? What is the product about? Or what is the key highlights of the whole portfolio? So I told you it's an ad stack of three different products. Eskimi itself, even though being an ad tech company, can also act like an agency to a certain extent. And we call it managed services. And that means we can do managed services, or we can run and set up the campaigns for agencies or for direct brands. And obviously, you know better than I, sometimes you don't have the manpower, you don't have the time or the knowledge, even as an agency, to have another or DSP at hand. So we take that off your table and we run it for you based on your criteria. Now, the latest trends, and obviously I would have loved to talk about the latest advertising trends, is connected TV and in-game ads. So I have to cut it short and can just tell you that we can do it. It would be another session, but those are actually the latest things that are on the market. Connected TV will replace traditional TV ads sooner or later, and gaming obviously is on the rise, and in-game advertising is also something that popped up, I think, maybe a year ago. So now we're coming to the product. So our tools. A DMP is a data management platform, something like a CRM to a certain extent, where you basically store user profiles. And this is also what we're going to talk about. User profiles, that is you and you and you and you. We all have you in the database, not with your name, not with your telephone number, but as a ID, XYZ123. So that is the core. So the DMP, the DSP, the demand-side platform, is the tool where actually you set up the campaign and upload the creatives. And if you're a publisher and you want to monetize your website, then you can use our SSP solution. So it's all in one, and inside that whole ecosystem, you can also do creative designs. So if your design department is a little bit slow, or you have to outsource to other agencies to get dynamic, rich media, animated media, you don't need that anymore. This is in the software. Within 5 seconds, you can generate a 3D animated cube or any other things. I just want to highlight a couple of things. If you're an agency and you want to have your own DSP, you can white label ours and sell it as yours. That's very easy for us to do. We gather a lot of telco data. So basically, your mobile phone every couple of seconds sends some signals to some servers, location signals, etc. So we have direct access to that data, and we use this data actually for targeting. And then something, I don't know if it's being used in Bangladesh, but in my region, in Thailand and Vietnam, it's being used heavily. It's a geofencing option, means not geo-targeting, not city targeting, but geofencing or hyperlocal. And this is something that is definitely on the rise, and that means actually that I can target this room. I can make a fence around this room, and I can only publish the ads in this room or collect your data from this room. So obviously that room doesn't have enough people to get enough impressions out, but if you talk about a big event, an airport, or a mall, or district in a certain area, you don't have to target Bangladesh as a city Dhaka as a city or Bangladesh. You can actually just take the certain areas here. Okay. Our software is very open to integrate with other modules and other systems. So obviously it's very important to have different reporting options at hand. We can integrate them via APIs into Eskimi as well. Then the middle part actually is what we are. We are a demand-side platform. We are not an ad network. We're not an ad exchange. We're not GDN. So just to give you that, maybe this, the view on that. So GDN is an ad network, and ad networks run under ad exchanges. And we run the ad exchanges. So basically our reach is very, very high. We have the highest reach possible because we are connected to 65 ad exchanges, right? And there's thousands of ad networks and millions of websites. So this is why a DSP is always good to use, because basically you will get probably 99% of your preferred target audience. The topic for today will be mainly about the last point. Verification, authentication, data security, etc. So we do it already in the software and in-house, but just in case you don't trust Eskimi, or just in case you want a third party to look over it, obviously there are companies like Adjust, as you just saw, and IAS, who actually can verify what we show to the client. And this is, I'm coming from the agency world myself. When I started in agencies, we sent Excel files to the clients. And, the client says, I don't believe those numbers. Okay, so there's two ways to look at that, right? You can fight with the client. Maybe the numbers are right. Maybe there's a discrepancy. So what we do actually at Eskimi is, first of all, we have a real-time dashboard that should take away everything. But just in case you want that extra confirmation, we have a lot of tools, third-party tools that we integrate to show our performance from another side. Okay, brand safety. Can I ask one question in the room? So, who is from the agency side here? Oh, good. And brands? Okay. Okay, that helps me a lot, because When I started in display advertising a long time ago, brand safety was not such a big topic because there were not so many websites. So if then there were only banks and insurances actually who were careful or asked the question, where will my ad be placed? And not because they wanted to know where it's placed, but are you going to make sure that it's not going to be placed in a betting environment or gambling environment, right? But an FMCG company or any other companies, they didn't really care. But now it's getting more and more important because of the immense amount of, I would say, risky websites and publishers where ads shouldn't be seen. So we have the perfect example here, not only about brand safety, but also about proper contextual targeting. So actually, we are killing two flies with one go. So does it work? No. Okay. The product, obviously, is Nescafe. And the placement of the ad is on CNN within an article that talks about Nestle. There's no better contextual targeting and no better relation than that. The ad is so relevant to the context that it's almost unreal, and obviously also brand safe. So what is the negative example? The negative example would be, for example, if the Nescafe ad would be shown in a, let's say, for coffee it's difficult, but maybe in a dating environment where Nestle doesn't want to be shown up. It's a Swiss company, they're very conservative, gambling, all those things. So now all the brands are focusing on brand safety and right environments. So brand safety has more than that. First of all, brand safety means also anti-fraud. No fake clicks from China, no fake clicks from India. I mean, I also ran campaigns already where all of a sudden I was surprised that there were clicks from a country that wasn't targeted. So we make sure actually as Eskimi, without a third party, that there's no fake clicks, and that we are reaching out to real people, not to bots. The other thing is that, as I said, so there are brands that don't want to be in betting, alcohol, gambling, and dating. Safe environment is king. We have technologies how to make that sure. I will show you that later. And then viewability is the third thing that also comes into brand safety, means what is an impression worth if I cannot see it, if it's at below the fold, right? So you know that thing that if you're unlucky, your ad is shown at the end of the article and you pay for it, but it's not viewed. That's a wasted budget. And that is even almost as bad as pop-unders, right? So pop-under obviously also goes in the same direction. So for us, viewability is also super important. There are certain benchmarks here in viewability. I think it's around 50 to 70%. The ad should be seen for at least 1 or 2 seconds. So we make sure that those metrics are actually also confirmed and respected. Now, about putting the ad in the right content. So we have a couple of examples here. We have gaming, news, politics, dating, and religion. And now I take all verticals together. There are hardly verticals that want to be put in a dating environment unless they are in the same area, for example. So obviously we put that in red. News is probably one of the best environments where you can place ads. I mean, almost everything works here. You can put FMCG ads in news environment, et cetera, et cetera. So what we do actually here is we get feedback from the ad exchanges about the traffic source content. So we know, for example, what website has what content. Even we know more than that. We even know how frequently it's visited. And then actually we sort it, and then we can exclude certain sources or certain publishers for your campaign. That makes it easy for you to get definitely a good relevancy here. Now, imagining the website is good, but the website has some, for example, in the URL, something called battle or war or rape or whatever you want to call it, or on the website itself, there is the topic of horror or whatever doesn't fit well. It's also a showstopper for the ad. Obviously, it doesn't fit. So we are using so-called web crawlers here. They crawl through all the publishers. They find the keywords. They find the blacklisted and the whitelisted keywords. So the whitelisted keywords for Nescafe, obviously, is mocha, coffee, cappuccino, espresso. Fits perfectly, right? So our technology is looking for those words and then includes or excludes the websites and places the ad, or says, no, I don't place the ad in this environment. Back in the days, and I think some people are probably in my age as well, you remember that you book direct with publishers. You give a call to the publisher and said, hey, I want to book that space, top leaderboard space for CPM for 1 month. So whitelisting and blacklisting goes a little bit in that direction. Actually, it's like a human-curated, predefined list that the brands give to the agencies and say, we want to be placed here for sure, or definitely not here. So this is something that is not really programmatic at that point of time. Actually, it's an Excel or Word document with all the white and blacklisted sites. And, but the good news is that most global brands, they have those whitelist and blacklist already at hand. So they hand them over, we put them in the system, and then we know, for example, okay, advertiser ABC, they want to be put in a news environment on CNN, BBC, or messenger apps, etc., etc. All those points together, and I think there is, that's almost done from our side, all those points together will guarantee you brand safety and no problems with your ads in the right environment. Now, if you don't think that, for example, Eskimi can do it by itself, or if you say, okay, I want another verification tool on top of that, that actually tells me it's safe, we have partnered up with a couple of third-party verification tools. I would like to highlight IAS here that help as well to make your campaigns more relevant. So IAS actually is one of the leaders in digital verification. And what they do actually is they're going to check how the ads perform. They're going to check where they're placed. It's just like the police, more or less, for all campaigns. But the result is king here, because at the end of the day, the case study here from IAS says 32 million avoided, wasted impression. So, which is a great thing. And I'm starting from the bottom, I'm going up, because the less wasted impressions you have, the more your performance increases, and the less you have to pay, right? So it's very important to keep that in mind. We do it already ourselves, and IIS will also help you or help us to do that. Okay, I only have 10 minutes. I might need 5 minutes longer. I quickly browse over this. What is IIS doing with us together? Looking for valid traffic, invalid traffic, obviously bot ads that are still around, brand safety, risky apps. Obviously, there's a lot of risky apps outside. And then viewability and I would say engagement sessions, which is called time in view here. Engagement sessions means I can generate a click or visit for you, but that doesn't mean that it's worth anything. So an engaged session means actually that people connect with the website, they stay 10, 15 seconds, they convert, or they browse through pages. Okay, so data privacy. Why, as a marketer, I want to know everything about you? Or actually, yeah. Because nobody answers, so I give the answer myself. I'm not expecting the answer, actually, but you know it. Data is king and targeting is king. Mass media campaigns are really not so in anymore. So the more I know about everybody here in this room, the better I can tailor my campaign. If I know that you are 25 and a male, live in Dakar, it's not enough anymore. I need to know, are you affluent? Do you have a car? Do you have children? Do you have your own house? All those targeting points, right? And this is why everybody collects data. And 6-7 years ago, there was that big thing, big data. That is not actually anymore. Now we have to talk about smart data. Smart data means I'm not taking all the data and just have it. Big data. Smart data means I bundle it and I create profiles of users, of you, and of you. So I can send you a sports shoes campaign. I can send you a cosmetics campaign or whatever. And this is very important. So what advertisers want to do, and we want to collect all those data to get all those results here. Now, there's a risk, obviously, and that goes in the direction privacy policy. So obviously there are some very strict measurements to be taken in order not to run into legal problems. I don't want to, actually I have the link ready for the Eskimi privacy policy, but it's that long, so we are skipping that. So let me show you that we have very clear definitions how we define our own privacy based on international standards, and you know the strictest one being GDPR, obviously the European ones. So we are compliant with that one and able to show relevant ads without getting problem. And this goes into also then again into data integrity. So here we go to GDPR. So in Asia, it's not as tough as in Europe yet. There's a PDPA and some other things running around, but GDPR is the most strictest one, and we are respecting that. But it's not only the data integrity, there's also the data security, and this is something that people have to differentiate a little bit. It all goes hand in hand at one point. Data security and data privacy. Data security means also that nobody can actually steal my data, or when an earthquake happens, that the data is not getting lost, that data is stored in proper data centers, that users, not every user can download the data just like that, even if he works in the company. So there are many things that have to be taken into consideration to make sure that your name and your name and your name are not out in the market and available for everybody. So those are the main, I would say, securements that we do. So physical access control means I cannot walk in a data center and say, hey, I want to go to the Eskimi server and download the data. Storage control, user control. User control means that different people have different rights to get onto data or to download data. Recoverability, so if there's an earthquake, knock, 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 hopefully not, that the data is obviously backed up and available later. And the last point here is, now we talked about third-party data a lot, first-party data. So I guess I don't need to ask the agencies, but the brands, you are probably sitting on a lot of first-party data, and maybe you don't know how to monetize them. So what I know is that you can obviously monetize email addresses for retention, right? So this is a normal thing. But what do you do with all the other data? So there's a little concern handing over data to agencies or to ad tech companies like us, of course, because as a brand, how can I make sure that this data is not used for my competitor? So now I give you whatever kind of data from my own database, 1 million users in whatever form. I would be scared that you use that data maybe for somebody else. So important here is that Eskimi ensures the privacy of the data of our clients. So we create pools for every client. The second thing is that obviously also we're working with companies like Adjust, etc., that also help us to secure that data and the usage of the data. And then the third part is that the data is not being sent via an Excel file, but it's hashed IDs. So my name is Oliver Wilke, I'm 51 years old, I'm German, etc., etc., my telephone, my email address. That's not going to be sent over like that. what's being sent over is a hashed ID called XYZ user 1, XYZ user 2. So this information we are receiving at Eskimi's end, we are importing it into the DMP, and the DMP de-encrypts it, and then it's usable for the next marketing campaign. So basically, this is an example for that. Nobody knows what is behind that girl on top. There's no information. But if I put that number below her face into the DMP can defragment it, and it becomes a profile, right? But it's not getting lost unless it's not being uploaded. It's completely anonymous. So this is what we do. We incentivize our users and our clients to give us hashed first-party device IDs, and we make them available only for you. So that's it already for today. I think I'm hitting the time. Do I have time for question and answers? Okay, if anybody has a question, then it's the time right now. No question? Okay, I have one more thing for you. Don't know bad. Thank you. Thank you.